From weekend getaways to extended road trips, California is full of places to explore. And for over 100 years, the Auto Club has been there to help. Our travel agents offer you expertise regarding destination information, trip planning and reservations, either in office, on the phone, or online. Across the state, throughout the country, or around the world, through all life's travels, we're always with you.
Road Trip has been made possible by the Automobile Club of Southern California.
You know, there's nothing more interesting to me than traveling into unknown territory. And that's exactly what we were doing as we headed east on Interstate 8 in search of the exact southeast corner of California. Now, by looking at the map, we had figured out it was close to the city of Yuma, Arizona, which was a place I'd never been before. And as we approached Yuma, we really didn't know what to expect. But we ended up having a great time, discovering some really colorful and fascinating history, meeting some very nice people, and in fact, finding the exact southeast corner of our state. Our first stop in Yuma was one of the most historic, as we visited the site of old Fort Yuma, established back in the mid-1800s during the wild and woolly frontier days. These days, it's headquarters of the tribal government of the Quechan Indian tribe. I met up with George Bryant, who's one of the tribal elders and has lived in the area all his life. George walked me around the grounds and showed me some of the highlights, including the beautiful old St. Thomas Indian Mission.
We're getting along pretty good now, whereas we were under the various other governments, we didn't do so good.
Well, you're survivors.
Right. I think many tribes are like that, you know, in spite of what they do. They keep to tradition until they could, go into another culture. And this is what happened here. There are very few people that know the language anymore, you know.
Do you know the language?
Yes. I'm working with a person from the University of California at Berkeley, and we're writing a history, not the history, but the language.
Was it a difficult language?
Well, not for me.
But it was never really written down very much, was it?
We had to make sounds, you know. Some symbols were sounds. We used mostly the alphabet. When you say people come, you know, and we say you want a hotta, which means I'm glad to see you again, you know. And this is part of it.
Now, are you teaching this to the young people here?
Well, we plan to. I don't know. I'll probably have to get somebody else to do that, because soon I won't be able to do
because it's not really spoken anymore, is it?
No, just very few people who speak it, you know, not very correctly either, you know. So,
how do you say thank you?
Well, there's no word for that. Iwan's hotta means my heart is good, you know.
And the word again?
Iwan's a hotta.
Awan's hotta?
Iwan's a hotta.
Uwan's a hotta. That's what I want to say to you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Even though there's no way to say thank you, that's close to it, right?
Yeah. My heart is good to see you. I'm glad to see you. This is what it means.
Old Fort Yuma is located right on the top of the highest hill in Yuma proper, and really gives you a good view of the whole area. George walked me out to the point, and from here you could see forever. And it got me even more excited about the adventures and discoveries yet to come. Okay, as our adventure continues, we have left the original Fort Yuma, which is now an Indian reservation and is over in California, and we have traveled across state lines. We are now in Arizona, and our guide is Jerry Emmert, who is a ranger with the Arizona State Park system, right?
That's correct.
It's very unusual for us to be out of California, but I guess when you're in this part of the world, there's a lot of cross-pollination, isn't there?
Yeah, the whole area is kind of commingled right in here. We're so close to the border with the United States and Mexico and Arizona and California that, you know, like I say, everything is all, and like you say, everything's all together, you know, so.
All right, so we're here, and what's so strange about this, we're in Fort Yuma, even though we just left Fort Yuma. There were two Fort Yumas.
Exactly. This is the Fort Yuma Army Quartermaster's Depot, which was that supply station for the United States Army. It was established in 1863.
All right, now the first Fort Yuma was a fort that operated from
1850 to 1883.
And this Fort Yuma, which is on the Arizona side, was started in
1863 and
operated
until 1884.
But it was mainly, there weren't a lot of troops here. This was more of a supply depot.
Yeah, correct. This was the Quartermaster's Depot. This particular depot supplied all of the forts in Arizona Territory, and there was 13 of them. It was the largest supply depot that would be west of Fort Union, New Mexico. So this played a very important part during the Indian Wars of the 1870s and 1880s.
There was a lot happening here. Now, is this original right here?
That's correct. That's the 1872 Quartermaster's office.
Do people, when they come here, do they get these forts mixed up?
They do a little bit. This looks a little bit more military, or portions of them looks a little bit more military. They get confused. The town of Yuma is in Arizona, but Fort Yuma is in California, so they kind of look for Fort Yuma in Yuma, Arizona. So it's like I say, it's everything's just so kind of commingled right in here.
Well, there are a lot of great old buildings to see when you come to this park, but this one really is for the record books, isn't it, Jerry?
Yes, this is kind of an interesting building. This is what we consider, and what's been told and we've researched, is the oldest Anglo-built structure in Arizona.
Now wait a minute, what?
It's the oldest Anglo-built structure in Arizona. It was constructed in 1859 by George Johnson, who was a steamship captain, and he came to the river in 1850. He operated one of the ferries for a while, found out he could supply the fort by Colorado River steamer, and this is the house he built.
Well, was this part of the original fort?
It's on the military reservation. You have to remember, on this side of the river, there wasn't any big buildup until 1863. So there was a civilian occupancy here on the river.
So this was the Wild West.
This is pretty wild and woolly west, yeah.
Okay, now Jerry has brought us to a very historic spot. It's interesting, we're looking back up at the old church where we made our first stop. This is the original Fort Yuma up on the side of the hill over there in California. I keep getting mixed up as whether I'm in Arizona or California. We're standing in Arizona. That's California over there. That's the original Fort Yuma that is now an Indian reservation.
That's correct.
But you have brought us here right on the banks of the Colorado River because this is a very historic place.
Yes, Huell. This is the site of the original ferry crossing. That was the way of getting from one side of the river to the other. It was a rope ferry. There was a big mast over on the Arizona side, and likewise a big mast over on the California side. And a rope went across the river, and the ferry used the river current to use it to propel it back and forth across the river.
Now, when would this have started? When did the ferry start?
The first ferry on the Colorado River was started in 1849, and it was used by the boundary survey folks to get from what we now call Indian Hill, where the fort is, over to what we call Prison Hill, where the territorial prison is.
Now, didn't the Indians at one time operate the ferry as well?
After the military left in 1849, the Indians, for a short period of time, took over the ferry operation here.
Now, this was the only way to get across the Colorado River, was on this ferry boat.
This was the way that you could get across the easiest way to get across. The river kind of narrows down between these two granite monoliths. It provides a stable river width here, and it provides that, like I say, that place to establish two points on either side of the river to run a ferry across.
All right, now enough about the ferry, because that stopped running back in
1915 with the completion of the Ocean-to-Ocean Highway Bridge.
Here we go, the Ocean-to-Ocean Highway Bridge. And this is a fascinating part of history that I had no idea we were going to come upon, but you told us that this bridge was one of the only bridges in the early days that crossed the Colorado River.
This is the first bridge across the Colorado River, the first automobile bridge across the Colorado River. It was completed in 1915. It was a joint effort between the state of California, state of Arizona, and the Bureau of Indian Affairs. And what that did is why it's called the Ocean-to-Ocean Highway Bridge is that it's that final link of the Ocean-to-Ocean Highway, which started in Georgia and wound its way all the way to Los Angeles. It used to be called Old Highway 80.
Now this must have really made a huge difference in the development of this part of Arizona and California.
Well, it did. What it did is it allowed transportation across the river. For a fact, when they completed the bridge and had the opening ceremony, it said that the old ferry just sank and it died of a broken heart for all of its service that it had. It played an important part later on in the 1930s. This was one of two bridges across the Colorado River. The other bridge would be up at Needles. More famous in, actually there's that great famous shot in the motion picture, The Grapes of Wrath, where the Job family pulls off the side of the road there and they come to the California check-in station, and that was shot there at Needles.
But this bridge and the one at Needles would have been the bridges that the Okies would have used coming in from the Dust Bowl into California. They would have come right across. Well, wait a minute. No, they would have been going this way, yeah, from Arizona into California,
exactly,
into the Promised Land.
Exactly.
So this is how compressed everything is here in this part of the world. We're standing here looking up at the original Fort Yuma. Then you pull out and you see the original ferry crossing across the Colorado River. There's the Ocean-to-Ocean Highway Bridge, the first automobile bridge across the Colorado River, built in 1915, one of the early railroad bridges. Right behind it, built in 1925, and right here in front of us, Interstate 8. It's all compressed right here in this one little area. We are now driving over the Ocean-to-Ocean Highway Bridge, which when it opened back in 1915 was a big deal. This opened up a lot of territory to people with automobiles. They could now drive across the Colorado River, and boy, when you're driving across this bridge today, you can still feel the history all around you. Okay, we are now in historic downtown Yuma, Arizona, and we've hooked up with Tina Clark, who's a local historian and archaeologist, and you know all the history of this place, and you're going to be giving us a tour of some of the most historic spots here, but you wanted to start off right down here downtown for a reason.
Yes, I certainly did. Yuma, many people don't know much about Yuma, but Yuma is considered the gateway to the Great Southwest. But we really have to start with this being Native American ground, home ground from time out of mind. Yuma sits at the narrows of the Colorado River. It was the easiest place to cross, not only for early man that came and was immigrating all over the Americas, but we had people that settled here, the Quetzan and the Cocopah. The interesting thing, when the first Europeans came here, the Spanish arrived here in 1544. They knew this was a key spot. Where Yuma really gets into American history books, though, is the Mexican-American War And you are standing on the early trails that came west. The wagon trains actually blazed the trail right through here. They used the narrows of the Colorado. And then we have the gold rush. That is when we really start developing Yuma.
So this area right here,
Yes.
on what is today the California-Arizona border,
Yes.
this was a hub
Yes, it
for
was.
the California Gold Rush.
Absolutely.
We have left Main Street and come just a couple of blocks over to Madison because this is the really old stuff over here, right,
Yes,
Tina?
that's right, Hugh. Basically, the adobes, the oldest adobes in the state of Arizona, out of 8 old buildings in the state, we have 6 here in Yuma.
Really?
Yes, you're looking here on the left at the Molina Block. It's owned by the Historical Society. It is about 1890s. It's all adobe, and it was Yuma's first shopping center. Their millinery shops and dentists had their offices there.
Now, a lot of the adobes are still here.
Yes.
But a lot of downtown Yuma is gone forever, especially the old adobes.
That is right. And the big flood of 1916 basically took out the downtown Main Street. And this was the high water mark here on Madison Avenue.
So these survived just because they were
Yes.
above the high water mark.
That's right.
Isn't it interesting how almost everything in this town is tied up with the river in one way or another?
Absolutely. Again, we're the narrows of the river. This was the crossing place. And this also was the place that supplied the opening of the West with the riverboats. We had by 1870, we had about 200 people employed, about 10 riverboats working. You could get on here to go up to the mouth of the Grand Canyon. It would cost you about $65. It took 15 days. It was not like the Mississippi River, but I do like to say Mark Twain would have felt at home in Yuma because it was a river town.
Now this is beautiful right here. This is very southwest.
Yes, this was built in 1909. It's called the Gandolfo Annex. And as all proper river towns, we had a whole town full of characters. The main hotel was on Main Street called Hotel Gandolfo. But in quotes, the less savory characters were housed here. But the Gandolfo Hotel is long gone, and this little Gandolfo Annex is here today.
It's deserted.
It is definitely deserted. It is for sale. The city of Yuma owns it, but there is a very large price tag to stabilize the adobe.
Yeah.
Water damage over the years. Concrete is a natural enemy of adobe because it holds water in against the footings. So we have just a beautiful building and hope one day.
Look at this over here. This is a nice old building.
Yes, this really, again, we've got the sidewalks built up here, so these old buildings from the 1880s till about 1905 were not damaged by the flood.
A little bit of Vegas right here in Yuma.
Can you believe it? You are looking at a historic building built in 1891. It's a little frame building. It served many purposes, but the one that really is most interesting is that this was one of 30 wedding chapels in Yuma during World War II.
30 wedding chapels.
Yes.
Why in Yuma?
Well, Yuma preceded Las Vegas as the wedding capital of the United States. We had hundreds and hundreds of GIs come every day. We had 3 or 4 trains right into Yuma's station out of LA and San Diego. And you could get married quickly here in Yuma because there was no blood test, there was no waiting period, and it really was an industry here. And today we have a lot of people in their late 70s and 80s going, where was that wedding chapel that we got married in? Most of them are gone, but this little historic building is still here.
A little bit of Art Deco history, and boy, this is a beaut. The Hotel San Carlos, air-cooled.
Yes.
And look at those beautiful big those are flagpoles up on the top.
Right, they're really very much stylistic Art Deco. You are looking at Yuma's first air-conditioned building, air-cooled. They had a big water tower on top in the 30s. The place was built in the 30s. Something else you might not know about Yuma, it was a movie capital. We've had over 200 movies filmed here, and John Wayne did a lot of westerns and was housed here, and he loved this place.
So John Wayne slept here.
Absolutely, and there are some nice stories about him. The community loved John Wayne. He had his horses right out here near the hotel. There is one story that he actually got on the horse and rode right on in.
Well, there's nothing like a good old-fashioned town tour to work up a good old-fashioned appetite. And Tina, you have brought us here. We're still right in the middle of downtown, and you brought us to a place called Lutz Casino, where the elite meet. Now, what does that mean?
Well, I'll tell you, Lutz is an institution here in Yuma. Not just for tourists. We have a lot of tourists that love this spot, but this is a family business that has been on this spot for generations. So the senior Lutz, and now this is a couple of generations, the next generation of Lutz family. They are they have an incredible enterprise here. The food, the locals love it. High cholesterol, nevertheless, we all secretly want to eat at Lutz.
Well, we're not secretly going to eat there. We're going to go in there right there. Lutz Casino, where the elite meet. Okay. We're on our way to lunch. We're inside Lutz Casino, and we're heading over to meet, I assume this is, you're putting your belt on. What's...
I'm ready for a moment's notice. I'm ready at a moment's notice.
This is the man right here?
This is Mr. Bob Lutz. He is the owner here. His children work here, and he is not only, his business is an institution, he is an institution.
Oh, wow. How does it feel to be introduced as an institution?
Well, they're trying to phase this institution out. The boys are taking over. I'm in the phase-out program.
While we're taking the tour, can you get us a table?
Yeah, I'm going to go.
Get us a table.
Elbow to elbow.
All right, tell us a little bit. Let's shake hands and meet formally. Tell us.
What's your name?
Huell.
Huell. Bob Lutz. Okay, Huell.
What is this place? We have heard this is the place in town.
Well, it's where the elite meet. Lutz, it's called Lutz Casino. We kept it. It's not gambling. It's a family restaurant now. Years ago, it used to be a casino here where they had gambling when they'd pay off the sheriff, and now everybody's got religion and everything. There's no more gambling and no more prostitution.
Now, I heard, let's walk over here, because I heard that this used to be a pool hall, too.
It did.
It was Arizona's first pool hall.
Right. And then we had, this whole place was covered with pool tables. And it just eventually evolved into an eating place where the money was. When I got here, there was cracks all on the walls, and I had to fill up the cracks, so I had pictures and posters that I had collected from the U of A, and I put them all over there.
Yeah, how would you describe the decor of this place? We got a huge fish over here.
That's a 309-pound bat. One of my local customers caught that, bought it in.
Local bass.
Local bass.
And then you've got pictures on all the walls.
This is interesting here. It's an old operating lamp from the early 40s. It came out of the county hospital, and this was you use this, and it's counterbalanced. And I do premarital physical exams with this now myself.
Okay, we have hooked up with, your name is?
Mike Lutz.
You're the son.
Yes.
Right here. And you have brought us.
Special.
Now, what is the deal on these specials? Because this is something the likes of which I don't think people are used to eating.
Well, it's just a cheeseburger and hot dog put together that kind of came up there years ago. So.
All right, look at this. We got it.
Tired of eating hamburger all the time, so they combined it with a hot dog and called it a hot dog special cheese.
So this is a cheeseburger and hamburger combination. What do you call it?
Hot dog too.
What do you call this?
We call it the Mexican version, especial.
Especial.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay, Tina, that's for you. And what is this?
Potato tacos. There's mashed potatoes and rolled tacos are deep fried, mayonnaise, there's some cabbage, and a real Hispanic goat cheese on there.
Wait a minute, I don't see the potatoes. Where are they?
Well, they're rolled inside the tacos.
Take a bite of that.
Take a bite, oh yeah.
Wait a minute, these are filled with potatoes.
Yes.
Boy, this is great.
I told you you'd love it here.
Boy, this is very good.
Thank you. You know, we take the potatoes out, cook them, and then peel them, then smash them, and then put them back in the taco and roll them up.
A potato taco.
Yes, they're handmade.
Did you all invent this?
Yeah, well, no, it comes from deep Mexico. This is the goat cheese makes it too. This is goat cheese. That has a lot to do with it.
Well, now our hostess here told us that the food here was good, but it was pretty high on carbs and cholesterol. Is that right?
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, that's why we love it here. We don't have to come here and go on a diet. That's what
you got to come here and get your grease changed once in a while.
There's a foot coming through your ceiling.
That's right. That's our plumber. He's a house plumber. He's been up there quite some time. Plus, it's a hole in the wall.
You're used to this kind of humor, aren't you?
I am, and this is history, live history. We take our historic buildings here in Yuma and breathe life into them. This is a perfect example of history at work.
Wow.
Now, this whole floor is up on stilts, and it kind of wavers. Where the river used to overflow, you know, the water would, they built it up on stilts where the water could go underneath it.
But you know what? If you were to clean this place up too much, it wouldn't have the same atmosphere, would it?
No, I don't think so. I don't know about that.
So in other words, we don't have to worry about any changes happening here.
Not real soon.
And plus, the community and his customers would mutiny if he changed anything in this place.
I'd say this is where the elite meet. We're the melting pot of Yuma. We have doctor, lawyer, Indian chief. They all come to Luch Casino.
Well, thank you very much. This is great. We're going to sit down now and finish our potato tacos and our combination cheeseburger and hot dog, which is called
the Especial.
The Especial. We're walking off our lunch, and a hearty lunch it was of potato tacos and Especials. And let me thank you, I think, for taking us there for our lunch. And now you've brought us, well, we're still on the Arizona side of the Colorado River, and you have brought us here to this beautiful spot right on the river. Why are we here right now?
Well, Huell, we really have an incredible mission here. We are a national heritage area. And what we are doing is restoring the built environment and also the natural environment.
Okay, now what are you doing with the natural environment? We've seen the old adobes and the beautiful old buildings downtown. What are you doing with the river itself?
Well, you are looking at a cleared spot. This whole river, from the mouth of the Grand Canyon all the way down to the river delta at the Sea of Cortez, is overgrown with non-native species. They drink a lot of water. If we can pull out this non-native, get a canopy of the native trees, cottonwood and willow, we're going to bring back our bird population. This is the Colorado River Flyway, and we have some great bird watching here.
So what you're doing right here is ripping out all the non-natives.
That's exactly
And what are you
right.
going to do? Make this a park? Make this a walkway, a bicycle path? The kids will be down here?
It's going to be one of each. We have a planned equestrian path, so you can bring your horse, park it at our West Wetlands. This is called the East Wetlands Project. It is really cutting edge. The Colorado is the most threatened river in the country, announced this year. Yuma is really doing the first big job of mitigation and restoration of the river.
You know, I've seen pictures standing right here, I think back in the 1920s, and as far as you could see was the Colorado River.
That's exactly right. The first small dam went in 1909, and don't forget the Hoover Dam started really controlling the flow really in the 40s. So what we have here is a river that's used by all of us, and we really feel like it's time to pay the river back.
Yeah, pay our respects to the river.
That's right.
A river that has grown and shrunk and grown and shrunk over the years.
Years years ago, we would be standing in the middle of the Gila River. If you stood here in in your canoe, you'd look out, it would look like an ocean. And again, we're looking at the granite outcroppings that form the narrows of the Colorado.
Right over here.
And that is exactly why Yuma is here, why a town was established here.
This whole area is so wonderful.
Yes, it is. And wait, just stay tuned, because you're going to have a chance within the next few years to keep an eye on this miraculous restoration of this incredible resource.
Well, congratulations. This area is called the Heritage Area.
Yes, it's the Yuma Crossing National Heritage Area. There are 23 in the country. We are the first one west of the Mississippi. The others are household words: Philadelphia, Boston, Charleston, Detroit's automobile corridor, and little old Yuma, Arizona. And you are standing here, and we want to fondly refer to it as the gateway to the Great Southwest.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. You've brought us up to speed on some very important aspects of not only Yuma's past, but some exciting things that are going to be happening here in the future.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was my pleasure, and I want to welcome you back anytime.
Now, we are leaving you right down here by the river. You can go out there and do some weeding or something out there.
Right,
get those non-natives out. We are heading right up here. Our next stop is up on top of one of these granite outcroppings. That place up there contains even more rich Yuma history. And here we are up on top of the hill looking at this structure that just a minute ago we were looking at from down on the river level. And here to tell us what this is Ranger Jesse Torres. We're still in Arizona, Jesse. We've spent most of this trip in Arizona.
Well, that's good. We'd like to have you here longer, as a matter of fact.
Well, we're glad to be here. Tell everybody where we are right here, because this is one of the most historic spots, and actually one of the spots that I've been looking forward to visiting more than any other place here on this trip.
Well, thank you. Actually, you're looking at the Arizona Territorial Prison at Yuma, now known as the Yuma Territorial Prison State Historic Park.
The Yuma Territorial Prison
State Historic
Park.
That's
now,
correct.
Tell us about, was that the prison right there?
No, sir. That happens to be the main guard tower and the water supply. And that the water, of course, was for the convicts who were confined here. Over a 33-year period, we had 3,069 inmates here at this institution.
All right. Now, when did this thing open up?
It opened up July 1st of 1876.
Now, is this, there's 1875 right up over there. Is this part of the original prison?
Yes, it is, sir. This is the Sally Port. It was actually built in 1885. The 1875 refers to when the prisoners were first brought up to the site to start construction of the prison.
Boy, they were brought up here on top of the world. Look out here, this beautiful view out here.
It's kind of nice. Of course, they didn't get a chance to see very much of it. They were confined inside the walls.
All right, we're going to take a tour of this prison. And boy, when you walk through these gates, you are literally walking back in time, aren't you?
Indeed, indeed.
We're inside the prison, and boy, right off the bat, take a look at this. This is no halfway prison. This was the real thing, wasn't it?
That's correct, sir.
Now, who was in here?
Well, you had your cattle rustlers, your horse thieves, your murderers, your thieves, just about everything.
Boy, there were some pretty serious characters in here.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Now, is this the way the prison would have looked, open like this?
No, actually, it was enclosed. There was a second story above us, and that would have housed the prison hospital. And also, this corridor here would have been plastered and whitewashed, too, at the time.
So this is really kind of what's left down to the bare bones.
That's correct.
How many people would have been here?
Well, actually, you're looking at 6 men to a cell. During the peak operation, we had a total of 418 convicts here at this prison.
Now, this was out in the middle of nowhere. Was this the only prison out here?
Yes, sir. Actually, it was the Arizona Territorial Prison, so it's for the entire territory of Arizona.
So they were bringing people here from all over the West?
No, only in Arizona, from Arizona.
Excuse me, only Arizona.
Yes, uh-huh.
So all the horse thieves, all the scallywags, all the undesirables.
Indeed.
This is what they called home.
Yes, home for anywhere from 1 to 20 years.
Oh my gosh. Now this is the Is this the original wall? Is this the way it would have been built?
Yes, it is. And actually, all this work was done by convicts. They built the entire territorial prison. And actually, what they did is they wrapped the strap iron with the rock that you see today.
So they actually built what we're looking at today. And this actually gives you kind of an idea of the plaster.
That's right.
That used to be up there and make all of these walls white.
That's right. It was plastered and whitewashed.
Boy, look at this. This is serious stuff.
It does. It gives a feeling it gives a person quite a feeling of being locked up behind.
When you were here, you were in prison.
That's right.
Original iron bunk beds made in 1901. Now these are the bunk beds right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 men to a cell.
That's correct. 6 men to a cell.
That got kind of tight, didn't it?
It did too. And also their bathroom was a bucket which would be emptied out only once a day.
So wait a minute, they had one bucket in here.
That's correct.
Emptied out once a day.
That's right.
And what kind of, if these were made in 1901, what was here before then? This thing opened in 1876.
Before they had wooden bunks, but of course they had an infestation of bed bugs, which led them to replace them with the iron bunks you see today.
Wait a minute, they had bed bugs?
Bed bugs, yes. They were quite rampant around the prison back then.
Oh my gosh. All right, we're walking back through this gate again because you wanted to bring us, there it is right there.
There you go.
You think we've seen something so far. This is the real thing right here, the dark cell. Explain to us what that was.
Well, the dark cell was basically used for punishment. If you say you did not want to bathe, or you fought with a fellow convict, or if you uttered words to the guards, you could be punished by having to serve time here in the dark cell.
Was this kind of like solitary?
It was more than solitary. It was for punishment. Basically, while you were in there, you'd be in your underwear, chained to a cage, and then you'd be fed only bread and water.
Oh my gosh. We can go in here. Boy, I bet this is one of the high points of the tour, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, we're going inside, and I'm letting you go first this time. The dark cell. Oh, it's dark in there. It's like a tunnel back in here.
Yes, sir. Actually, what it is an excavation right out of the hillside.
So they carved this out of a piece of solid rock.
That's correct.
Oh, look at this. I have never seen anything like this before. Look at the ceiling up here. This is literally a man-made cave.
That's correct.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about this place. Tell us about the dark cell. What is this down here?
Okay, down on the ground here, this is actually the floor of a cage that used to be in the dark cell. It was about 5 foot high, about 10 foot wide, and actually
So wait a minute, the cage would have been about this high?
About this high, yes, indeed.
And the person would have been inside the cage?
Chained
Let's
up.
go inside the cage.
Okay, now they would be chained up while they were inside the cage. There was no bucket for a bathroom, so they have to pick an area of the cage as a restroom. Now, normally the length of stay in a dark cell was anywhere from 1 to 14 days, though we had one gentleman who spent a total of 104 days straight in the dark cell.
And the roof of the cage was only 5 feet high, so
That's
you
right.
would have been chained kind of down like this.
That's correct.
Chained to the floor or chained out this way?
Actually, on the two ends, there are iron rings there. They'd run the chains from the iron ring over around your ankle while you were in the dark cell. And the most men we had confined at one time was 14.
Wait a minute, you had 14 men inside this cage.
That's correct. 14 men.
This is almost impossible in today's society to believe, because in many ways, I know these were some bad characters, but this was like something out of the Dark Ages.
Oh, definitely. Then, of course, in the center room, we have a vent. And some of the stories go that some of the more sadistic guards would drop down rattlesnakes and scorpions to torment the convicts. Now, according to the prison records, that's not true, because we do not have a convict being bit by a snake or a scorpion while being confined here.
But this was the only way that brought in a teeny bit of light.
A teeny bit of light, yes.
And a little bit of air.
Right.
And that was it.
That was it. There were 2 solid metal doors here at one time.
So this must have been the worst. I mean, this had to be the worst thing that could happen to a prisoner here.
No, actually, the worst that could happen is they tried to escape and they were shot, because they were under order to shoot to kill.
Oh, look! You see him? You got him?
Got him.
There are bats in here.
Yep, around October we always have bats.
Oh my gosh. Would there have been bats in here back when the convicts were here?
Yes, there would.
Oh my, oh, there are 2 bats. There's another one.
Right, they're probably still inmates from that time period.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna go over here. Oh! Boy, you know, it's eerie in here.
It
really.
It is.
I mean, this is a strange place. Okay, we're back outside the dark cell, and we have run across a couple from California. Where are you all from?
Lodi, California.
Lodi, California. Have you been inside the dark cell yet?
I haven't. I'm not going in. I'm a good person.
No, come on. You're not going to believe. They got bats in there.
No, they don't.
Yes, 2 bats.
No.
Yeah, we just saw them.
Oh, well,
I'll go in and look at the bats. I like bats.
I'm the chicken.
Well, what do you think of the prison?
Well, I'm glad that I think they were pretty rough on the prisoners a long time ago.
Yeah.
I think much rougher than what they are now on
Yeah.
Yeah.
This would not have been a place to...
I know, to enjoy life like they do now. Yeah, isn't that true?
Did you see the bats?
No, I didn't see the bats.
Well, you really
it's
have to
too
have
dark.
a light in there, don't you?
Yeah.
Just go in there and stand around for a while. Don't worry, the bats will find you. Low entrance. So the prisoners were short back then. Oh, look at this. This is a whole big, like a prison yard here.
That's correct. This is actually built in the year 1900. These were the last cells dug out of the hillside here.
Yeah, this looks kind of modern and nice over here. This kind of has that southwestern, adobe southwestern architectural motif.
There you go. And actually the entire prison looked that way when it was brand new. It had the walls were whitewashed, painted white. And in 1908, right in the center of the yard here, we had a bunkhouse built. And this is where they kept the convicts who had consumption, which was another word for tuberculosis back then.
Oh boy, I bet that was a nice thing to have going on out here.
Oh, really? Yes.
So they were all crowded in together in here with TB.
That's correct.
When did this place close down? When did it?
Actually, it closed down on September 18th, 1909. And the reason it closed is because there was no more room for expansion. And they were, back then, prisons, every town wanted a prison because of the economy. And the prison was moved to Florence, Arizona, and that's where the main prison is today.
And how did it become a state park, a state historic park?
Well, actually, it was abandoned there for 4 years. In 1910, Yuma High School burnt down, and this prison was used as a high school for 4 years.
You're kidding.
Right, and that's why our athletic team are known as the Yuma High Criminals.
Wait a minute, wait a minute, what is this?
Yep, it was used as a high school for 4 years, from 1910 to 1914.
And the Yuma High School sports teams are known as the Yuma Criminals?
That's correct, yes indeed.
Has there been a move to change that?
I hope not, because I'm one of them.
And who's the mascot of the Criminals?
Actually, they have just a guy dressed up as a convict.
You are kidding.
No, sir, it's correct.
This is a strange. You think that's a little strange?
Oh, no, sir. Well, at first when I was a kid I did, but not anymore. Not after I came to work here at the Territorial Prison. It ties in with the history of Yuma pretty well, you might say.
Okay, after spending a whole day looking at firsthand and learning a lot about the rich history of this area of California and Arizona, we are close to reaching our final destination, the reason we came on this trip in the first place. And to take us there, we have hooked up with Joe Brigman. Now, Joe, you are with the U.S. Border Patrol with the Yuma Sector Office, right?
That is correct.
And, of course, Jerry is here. Jerry, you've got the GPS out. You're already putting stuff in there because we're going down to find the exact southeast corner of California. And to get there, where have you brought us, Joe?
Well, we're on the international border between Mexico and the United States, the extreme southeast corner of the state of California, and in Mexico and the Colorado River.
All right, and this is the border right here, this big old fence. Let's walk down this way. Tell us a little bit about this fence. How tall is it? How long is it? Give us some facts and figures here.
Well, this fence was constructed about 10, 12 years ago. It's about 15 feet in height, constructed primarily to deter illegal aliens and narcotics traffickers from coming into the United States.
Now, wait a minute. Look at this. I could go right underneath there.
Yeah, you could come underneath it with ease, but rest assured we'd have someone here to talk to you shortly thereafter.
Yeah, because you've got a lot of hidden, you said you got a lot of hidden cameras, you've got a lot of sensors, you've got this thing pretty well fixed up here.
You bet. This is a high-intensity narcotics and illegal alien trafficking corridor here for Yuma sector, and we have adequate assets here in place to deter and interdict these folks whenever they choose to come into the United States illegally.
All right, now look, we're looking all the way down the fence here. It goes right down the border, but then when you get right down here, the fence stops. Now, is that where we're heading?
You bet. This fence will stop right at the edge of the Colorado River, and unless we want to try to put the fence through the middle of the river, which wouldn't work during flood season, we stop right there on the bank.
Now, we're in California right now because it's a little confusing. This river, the way it winds around, I've never been sure the whole time I've been here whether I'm in Arizona or California.
Yeah, it's a little confusing at times. However, the river on occasion has changed course during flood season, but primarily it runs north and south, and the border fence runs east and west.
Okay, now, is this it?
Well, this is just about it. As you can see, there's a trail there that goes down into the river area, and this is the end of the high fence. This area right here is underwater during flood season, but at the present time, it's you know, not underwater.
Now we're looking, there's the Colorado River right out there. Now we're still, is this Mexico?
The other side of this fence right here, about 10 feet, that is indeed the Republic of Mexico.
So where is Arizona?
Arizona would be to your east there on the other side of the river.
Right over here. So to get to the exact corner, shouldn't we be right on the bank of the river?
That is correct.
All right, let's walk over here. And what's interesting is you were telling me until relatively not that long ago, there was no fence along this border at all, was there? It was just all open.
Yeah, that's correct. The fence was put in primarily to serve as a deterrent for illegal alien and narcotics traffickers.
But before that, this whole area was just wide open. I mean, traditionally, for hundreds of years, there was nothing here. There was no fence at all.
That is correct.
Is that right, Jerry?
That's correct.
So it was just an open area.
Just an open area here. This is, like Joe was saying, this is the kind of the confluence of the three states. California, Arizona, and Mexico.
Mm-hmm. All right, now how are we going to get? How are we going to get up here?
Well, we're just going to do like lots of illegal aliens do, and in our group right here, we're going to hoof it right through the reeds here.
All right, go on, Jerry. Somebody left a shoe here. All right, here we go. Oh, wow. Here it is. Now, Jerry, is this what the Colorado River traditionally has looked like? Because it looks a little bit smaller than I thought it would be down here.
No, historically the river would have been probably 1,000 feet across, 600 to 1,000 feet across, probably in this particular area maybe 15 to 20 feet deep. Vegetation-wise, this is the current riparian vegetation that we have here. This is bamboo and tamarask. It would have been more, historically, it would have been cottonwoods and willows along here with arrowweed.
So this has all changed over the years.
It's all changed over the years. A couple reasons that it's changed. One was the steamboat traffic on the river. The river steamers used a lot of wood, and the wood was their major fuel source. So they harvested a lot of cottonwood and a lot of willow, and then up on the banks, they would get mesquites, and that would be the prime fuel
so
for
they cut down all the trees.
Cut down a lot of trees here.
You getting your history lesson here, Joe?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, let's walk right over here before we go down to the river, because this is very interesting. Actually, it's beautiful down here this morning. You've got this is like a smoke. What is this?
That's tamarask.
Tamarask and these reeds, and we're looking out over the fence. But what we are seeing here is not what most, this is not a tourist area, is it?
This should be described as not a #1 tourist destination in the United States. However, it's a beautiful area here. Tremendous ecology environment with the river.
But very few tourists ever, I mean, this is not a destination point. This is not in the Chamber of Commerce maps for either Mexico, Arizona, or California, is it?
Only for illegal aliens and narcotics traffickers.
Okay, and Border Patrol.
And of course the Border Patrol.
So you're used to being around this area.
Absolutely. This is our backyard. This is our #1 tourist destination.
All right, and for us, we're just kind of looking out. I don't know whether the camera can get it, but we're really seeing a beautiful natural area here with these beautiful reeds and bushes, and we can hear ducks quacking, and it's really a beautiful area.
There's quite a lot of wildlife here. You wouldn't really suspect it. There's especially this time of year, there's starting a winter and fall migration of bird life. I saw a couple cormorants fly over. I saw there was a couple of egrets that we saw too, or I saw on the road coming down. So this is, it's a good spot for all kinds of wildlife.
We've got some people here to greet us. Hello.
¿Cómo está, señor? ¿Cómo está su familia? Bien. Es un bonito día, ¿que no? Hey, pues.
What did you say?
I said, how's your family? And it's a beautiful day.
And we got 2 dogs.
Yeah. Los dos perros. Los perros feos, ¿que no? There you go. I said they're ugly dogs.
Well, that's not doing very much for international relations. You just called his dogs ugly.
Yeah, but he's got a beautiful family.
Bye.
Adios, señor. Bye bien.
All right, the time has arrived. I have pulled out my California state flag. Jerry is checking the GPS. Joe, what were the readings and how did we get them exactly?
Well, I had one of Yuma Sector's air operations helicopters fly over the exact location, the middle of the river, and we are precisely north 32 degrees, 43 minutes, 17 seconds, west 114 degrees, 43 minutes, 21 seconds.
Does that compute?
That computes.
And so actually, the middle of the river, all 3 come together. That's Arizona, California, and Mexico. And what state of Mexico is this?
That is Baja California del Norte.
Okay, so I'm not going to go out to the middle. I'm just going to stay on the edge. So on the edge, that would be the border between California and
Mexico.
Because Arizona is halfway across the river, right?
That's correct.
All right, you know you got it right. Your helicopter guy, what did you do? Hover out here and take a reading?
Precisely.
I'm not going to question the Border Patrol.
While on routine patrol.
Thank you very much for bringing us here, Joe.
You bet.
Thank you very much for this.
Well, no
spending
problem.
time with us the last couple of days.
Anytime, come on back.
All right, now I'm going to head down. This is going to get a little tricky here. How do I get down here? How would you?
As safely as possible.
Oh, I thought you were going to give me some tips.
You just be careful.
All right, here we go. I guess I've got to kind of do this on my own. Whoa. I might be in the river after all. Okay, here we are. I'm going to go right up to the edge. Here's the flag. We're going to put it right on the edge here. We have done it. After 2 days of looking and having a wonderful adventure here, we have come to the exact southeast corner of California. Arizona is halfway across the Colorado River. Mexico is right here. We're here. We found the southeast corner, and our California flag is flying proudly. Hello everybody, I'm Huell Hauser, and I sure hope you enjoyed this adventure to the exact southeast corner of our state. And if you'd like to see it again or share it with family or friends, it's available on video cassette and on DVD. And there's also a special DVD of all of our adventures to all 5 of California's corners. And believe me, each one is unique. It's a corners extravaganza. And to order, all you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.
Road Trip with Huell Hauser has been made possible by the Automobile Club of Southern California.
Wherever you're headed on your next road trip, the Auto Club knows the territory. For travel tips or comprehensive destination information, as well as booking your next family vacation, our website is a great first stop on any journey. No matter how far away your destination may be, through all life's travels, we're always with you.